Welcome back to They Did What, your source for the internet's craziest stories where I go over them, analyze them, and on occasion, make fun of them. For today, I'm going to go over a story titled, I Cheated on My Husband of 14 years and Lost Him Forever. And guys, what we have here is a story of a woman. She is 36 years old, as well as her husband. Like she said, married 14 years, been together 16. And lo and behold, one day, because you're going to see the reason why, she cheated on her husband. And unlike a lot of guys that would normally just take the apology and continue on and forget the old lesson, once a cheater, always a cheater, amongst many other things going on there, this guy, he's done. And now she's online, posting her story, singing the blues, looking for pity, and all that. But I'm not going to reveal too much. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm going to get right into it. Starts off, she says, this is long, but it's something I need to get off my chest. My husband, a 36-year-old male, and I, a 36-year-old female, have been together for 16 years and married for 14. So they got married when they were both 22. Way too young. Gotta have a lot of life experience before you're going to make such a big adult decision. But nobody seems to do that. At least in the past. More and more people nowadays are waiting to get married, or not getting married at all. Way too young. We have two daughters who are 13 and 12. About 3 months ago, I cheated on him with one of my coworkers once and I immediately regretted it. To be honest, I still haven't figured out the real reason I cheated. What do you mean you don't know why you cheated? What, are you kidding me, lady? Maybe she just doesn't want to reveal to the world the real reason she cheated because she doesn't want people calling her on her crap. On the surface level, the reason would be that my husband was too caught up with work for a couple months and I felt neglected and unappreciated at times. A couple months. So this guy for 16 years, he's been working hard and doing his part to take care of the family. For a couple months, he got busy at work and handling things because that's what a responsible, loving husband and father does. And so God forbid, for 2 months, you didn't get the attention that you felt that you deserved. So you went and cheated. That's real nice. And you're trying to sing the blues and get pity because he's done with you? She says, I know that isn't the real reason, so I'm trying to figure out what it is through individual counseling. Well, make up your mind, lady. Either that's the reason or it's not. Or just admit the real reason why, because it's probably worse than what you're saying. I only cheated on him that one time and immediately told him the next day because I couldn't bottle up all my guilt and shame. One time? Are you sure about that? He was shocked at first, but then went on to call me the most horrid names. I deserved it. I deserved a lot more than that. Well, he had every right to. Because if a guy did that, if it was the other way around, believe me, there'd be a hellstorm on him. Says, I don't even know how I got to the point of me sleeping with my coworker. It started with innocent flirting, and before I knew it, I made the worst mistake of my life by sleeping with him. Innocent flirting? But right then and there, already that tells you something's off, right? But as I've said many times in other videos, women love attention and validation. Getting that flirting, there you go. She says, I wish I'd gotten hit by a car that day before sleeping with him. I cut off all contact with my coworker and gave up my phone to my husband. I wanted to reassure him that I was willing to make this work on his terms, whatever they were, as long as he would give me another chance. Even though in my heart I knew that I wanted another chance to prove myself, I told him I would understand if he went through with a divorce. That's a bunch of crap. That's just her saying that to make him, show how serious she is. But come on here. She didn't want him to divorce, and she certainly wouldn't understand that. Anyway, I told my husband that I would do anything to regain his trust and express my sorrow and regret for having hurt him so much. My husband has always been the type of guy to give a person only one chance. Even in his friendships, if the trust had been broken, he wouldn't give the person another chance. He said that he wanted a divorce, but then the whole quarantine thing happened, and he stayed in the house for about 2 months and didn't proceed with the divorce. Well, that's because the quarantine was fresh and new. And obviously courts were closed and things like that. I read plenty of articles about how all these people were stuck in the house together going crazy. And they were just waiting for the day that the courts reopened and all that. And it was a tidal wave of divorce filings. For the first month, he treated me very coldly, and the only time we talked was when he had to do with our daughters. I slept on the couch and tried to give him as much space as he needed, and only reminded him from time to time that if he ever wanted to work things out, I'd be more than willing to, and would be completely devoted to the process of him working things out. Well, I like that. She's sleeping on the couch. That's warranted. A lot of times there's these fights and problems in the house, and the husband goes to the spare bedroom, and the husband goes to sleep on the couch or something stupid like that, or down the basement. Good. He even said some spiteful things during that month and distanced himself from me completely. During the second month, there was a change as he began to talk to me again. We talked about daily stuff and even watched movies together with the girls as a family. Well, your girls were there. She said here the daughters were 13 and 12, so she didn't say anything about the girls knew about what happened. So anyhow, you probably did that for them. During the second month, there was I read that part. We talked about daily stuff and even watched movies together, blah, blah, blah. I felt like he wanted to try reconciling, and I was so happy. I was thrilled that there might be a chance to save my family, to save us. Eventually, though, through the next couple of days, I could sense us becoming friends all over again. He even invited me to sleep on the bed again. I was really working out, and I reminded him that he could talk about anything he wanted with me. A couple of weeks passed by, and we were getting along even better. We were spending time as a family again, and had gotten closer with each other as well. I felt really good about the way things were going, but I wish I suggested marriage counseling. Most of the time, the marriage counseling, they're trying to make the marriage obviously improve or get fixed. And almost always what I've heard is the marriage counselors side with the woman, even if she's in the wrong. That's what I've heard. I just didn't want to pressure him and have him think that I wanted to sweep the situation under the rug, or that I was trying to influence him not to divorce me. One night, we were drinking a bit, just talking in our bedroom, and I felt a genuine connection rebuilding. It felt like we were falling for each other all over again, and it made me so happy. That's her perception of the situation. This is the part I regret now. I decided to make a move on him and straddled him while we were laughing at a joke. We looked at each other in the eyes, and so naturally I began making out with him. It honestly felt like we were 20 years old all over again. He kissed me back as well, but after a while he just started crying. He told me to stop and said that he couldn't do it. I felt so awful because I felt like he wanted to, but didn't at the same time. It broke my heart to directly see just how badly my stupid decision had hurt him. Yeah, because guess what? He's been with her for all this time. I'm going to guess probably he hadn't been around with many women because they got together and got married so young. And I guarantee you, when he was making out with her and his eyes were closed, he was probably picturing her with some other dude. Guys don't forget that stuff. I mean, you can say that nobody forgets stuff, but guys definitely don't forget that stuff. And you can't blame the guy. She says here, I told him that I was sorry and we went to sleep. The reason I say I regret doing this is because I feel like this moment pushed him away forever. 2 days later, he informed me that he wanted to go through with the divorce. He said that he just doesn't think I could make it work even after trying for the last 2 months. I wanted to fight with him about it, but I just told him that I understood. She's got no right to try to fight with him about this, okay? They were living in the house together, and that was obviously because the quarantine, because of COVID happened, and obviously putting up a show for the daughters. And obviously they were starting to get along better, and he was probably trying to move on from it. But the second they started getting frisky together, that's when it all came rushing back, and it's just like, hey, I can't do that. Okay, he realized he couldn't do that. And honestly, that had to happen. It had to have their little magical moment there to show that it wasn't going to work and to finally move forward. But she's got no right. I wanted to fight with him. Lady, you got no right to want to fight with this guy about this. He didn't do anything wrong. You're the one at fault. Okay, that's great that as she claims she told the next day. I respect that. And that's great that she's genuinely trying. I respect that. But what's done is done. Okay, and you can't make him out to be the bad guy, and even with small hints, because you did this. You made this decision. You were an adult about it. And again, you said in the beginning, I was being neglected for 2 months. 2 months. The guy was doing what he had to do at work. I guarantee if he knew you were feeling neglected, if he knew you were feeling unhappy, he would have done something about it. But you have to communicate, not just go bang some dude at work. You make your bed, you lie in it. And the whole thing about accountability is that so many people nowadays, particularly women, no accountability. There's always someone else to blame for their fuck-ups. Pardon my French. We had already decided before that if we divorced, it was going to happen and it would be on fair terms. Sure, we both have lawyers, but we agreed on a lot of stuff together. So they're keeping it amicable. That's nice to hear. He wanted to take a 2-week trip, but would come back to pick up the girls after his trip. We both mutually agreed that we'd split the time with the girls after his trip. They would spend half of the week with him and the other half with me. I even helped him pack up his stuff, and when we finished, I just bawled my eyes out and we hugged it out. After the 2 weeks trip, he came back and said it was good to see me. It was good seeing him again, but I knew it wasn't the same. He just smiled and we made small talk before he took the girls. We're both really good parents and want the best for our kids. Well, that's good. They're trying to make it as painless and drama-free and problem-free for their daughters as possible. That's good to hear. Today I got served divorce papers. It hurt so much to know that I lost my best friend because I was stupid. Sometimes I roll over to his side of the bed in the morning, and I hate how I don't feel his body there anymore. She definitely seems regretful, remorseful in this, and okay, because a lot of times I go over stories, and these gals, they're saying they're regretful and remorseful, but they actually, let's be honest here, they're just putting on a show for attention. But I think there actually is different levels of her knowing she's screwed up here. But she's still looking for pity, still looking for reassurance and all that. But again, you made an adult decision, you have to live with it. Okay, if this guy's divorcing you, okay. Well, you've learned a hard lesson. She's obviously in her mid-30s, and if she's remotely attractive, she can get another dude and learn this hard lesson not to make the same mistake again. It's all she can do. And let this guy go. If she really cares about him, let him go. I wish I could go back in time and undo what I did, but I can't. Well, you don't have a time machine, so you can't do this. Don't waste your time with this. If I could turn back time, shit, you're not Cher. So now here I am writing about it on Reddit while crying, and while there's nothing that I can do about it. I wish I could let him see for himself what I genuinely feel in my heart, about how sorry I am, and about how I would be the most devoted wife ever if he just gave me another chance. Well, why weren't you the most devoted wife ever prior to doing your dirty deed? Again, 2 months, you weren't getting a whole lot of attention, so therefore you had to go step out. I get we all make mistakes, but you have to live with those mistakes. That is what being an adult is all about. I assume that's what you're teaching your daughters about this. And he could definitely see and feel and know how sorry you are. It's not going to change things. Okay? He's done. Let him go. To let him know just how much I love him, and I'd literally do anything for him. I effed up the most perfect thing that ever happened to me. I wish I could get him back now, but I know I lost him forever. So there you go. And again, I'm going to read a few comments that were in the comments section of this particular story, and you're going to see people there, to no surprise, that are giving her the pity that she wants and all that. But there's also people who are going to call her on a lot of these things and making her accountable for these different things. And got 3 different little things that I got here. One guy says, give you another chance. Why should he believe a word you say? You already said those things in front of your friends and family and hopped on another man's junk before your husband was working to put food, while the husband was working to put food on the table for you, and you wanted attention. Exactly. Another guy says, this woman didn't give a thought for once that for whom he was working the long hours. Obviously for her and their children, but instead of talking to him, she just effed another man. Me and my girlfriend always talk about our needs, listen to them, and it's what kept us strong and happy. Right. There was no mention of communication. There's no mention of her directly wanting to have a talk with him. Okay? And I don't want to hear about this, how women drop hints as a way to communicate, because that's what they do. Women a lot of times are not direct like guys are. They'll drop hints and speak in innuendos, hoping that guys will figure it out. For any women that watch this or stumble upon this video, because let's be honest, the majority of guys that watch the videos I put out, the people do are men. Women, you gotta be direct with us and speak directly that we can understand, not just dropping hints and innuendos and hoping we figure it out. It doesn't work that way. And then, well, I tried to talk to him. No, you didn't. Hints aren't talking. That's not communication. Another guy says, It started with innocent flirting, and before I knew it, it made the worst mistake of my life by sleeping with him. The guy says, excuse me, haha, what in the hell is innocent about flirting when you're a married person? Right. You were flirting with temptation and then act all surprised when you got burned. Right. And this whole theme of this whole thing is, hey, you make your bed, you lie in it. End of story. And again, nowadays, and it goes both ways, they joke about women and accountability, but also a lot of guys, younger guys, don't have accountability either, because everybody nowadays, there's always some excuse, someone to blame. I got some kind of hang up, I got some kind of problem, therefore I'm excused for my actions. No, well, in real life, you do something to somebody and they're going to react in a way and you have it coming. So I'd recommend to this lady is, okay, what's done is done, and if you really love this guy, you let him go. You let him go and move on, and you be a good mom to your daughters, and make the divorce process as easy and smooth as possible. Make it easy for him, because he certainly deserves that, because he's been the good guy in the situation. And if it means you're never going to get him back, you never get him back. But if she's obviously in her mid-30s, so if she's remotely attractive, she can get guys. She'll get another guy one day, mark my words. And don't screw it up like you did this one. And if she's feeling lacking of attention and care and love, speak up. Be direct. Let the guy know. That can solve a whole lot of problems. But going around trying to, I wish he knew, I wish I could go back and turn back time and all. No, you don't have a time machine. To my knowledge, time machines haven't been invented yet. And to be honest, I hope they never are, because we saw Back to the Future will screw everything up. And she has to live with her decision. But don't expect a whole lot of pity and all that stuff online to make yourself feel better. It is what it is, but at the end of the day, we all got to move on. All of us make bad decisions. I made plenty in my life, let me tell you, and I had to live with the consequences and learn from them. And I did, and I moved on. End of story. But anyhow, guys, I've been rambling on enough here about this story. That is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this particular story. And guys, if you ever happen to come across a good story, a real juicy type of story that you'd love to hear on here, just by all means, email it to me, or just have a link in the comment section or something like that, and I will certainly get around to doing it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.